Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ryan Retro channel. In today's video we're going to look at high definition texture packs for GameCube emulation. In order to show you the quality, I've hooked up my powerful camera up here, so you should see an increase in quality over my usual videos, and let me know how you think this looks. High definition texture packs are when people have taken the original textures from a game and upscaled them using AI. Here you can see a few examples on the screen. Pay attention to text, which is probably where it's most noticeable. You can see a good bump in resolution, and these games look incredible. Look at these pictures from Spyro and how much more of the atmosphere you can see. In the background, in the trees, I think it looks amazing. So let's jump into Dolphin and we'll try out a few GameCube games. And I'll also show you how you can set this up for yourself a little bit later in the video. When we jump into the game, you'll see it's loaded up 5,000 custom textures. That little pop-up is really handy to let you know that it loaded the textures successfully. Immediately when launching the game, I can see the increased quality of the text on the screen. Even these GameCube icons are far higher quality than they were before. It looks incredible. It looks like a modern, brand new game. Let's jump into a game. I will be Peach and Daisy. We'll ride a beautiful pink car. And let's get into the Mushroom Cup. All of the text is very, very noticeably improved. The game itself, in my opinion, already looked fantastic. So while I can notice an improvement, I thought it looked good already. I can feel that this game is running at a solid 60 frames per second, but I will bring up the FPS counter just so that you can see that too. Even when pausing the game, this display is beautifully crisp. Ow! I feel like some people might find these texture packs blasphemous because it's messing with the original game. But I honestly really have to tell you guys, I feel that these texture packs complete a game like this. On such a beautiful screen like we have on the Retroid Pocket 5, the really sharp 1080p OLED screen, these high definition textures just suit it so perfectly. And there's no hit on the performance whatsoever. You can see we're getting a solid 60 frames per second, even with the upscaled 1080p textures. So I would really highly recommend trying this out for yourself. And once again, I will show you how to do it near the end of this video. And there's the finish line. We won the race with beautiful high definition textures. Fantastic! Let's move on to the next game. This game has loaded 2,173 custom textures, and carrying on with the Mario theme, this is Super Mario Sunshine. This is one of the games as a kid I dreamed of playing, and I never got around to it, so I'm really hoping I can play it on the Retroid Pocket 5. Finally! Regular viewers of the channel will know that I did feature this in a previous test video, and I wasn't very happy that it was stuck at 25 frames per second. That was running the European version of the game. I've since installed the USA version of the game, and this is running at 30 frames per second, which is much nicer to my eyes. This cinematic is definitely not upscaled. It looks quite blurry and pixelated. So let's see how it changes when we jump into the game. Now that the game began, everything's much sharper than it was in the cinematic. Jumping around, we're mostly at 30 frames per second. Everything is nice and sharp. I'm not sure how well this will come across on YouTube. Hopefully with my high quality camera it will come across quite well, but it will depend on what screen you're watching it on. But I just have to tell you guys, this is a huge improvement over the original, especially when it comes to text. That's where it's most noticeable. The text is razor sharp with these HD updates. Again, we have a very solid 30 frames per second. The HD texture packs are not causing us to lose any performance, so it seems there's no real downside. The only reason I can think of to not get these texture packs is if you just want to stay truthful to the original. If you think, no, I must play the game as it was originally created, but then you probably wouldn't be playing it on this. So I do think this is a good idea for everyone. I honestly have no idea what I'm doing right now, and Super Mario Sunshine is a game I really want to get into more and play more. So for now, I'm going to move on to the next game, as I'm going to get into this probably later tonight. We've now loaded 6,307 textures, and let's hop on the Mario train one last time in this video before we move on to a different game series. This is Paper Mario. I've also never played this game before, and I think it really looks like my kind of style because it looks adorable. I'm a really big fan of cute, cozy games, so I'd really like to get into this one. Once again, the text is incredibly sharp. It looks like something that was created this year rather than 2004. It's actually unbelievable it was created in 2004 once you see these high definition textures. I guess to be fair, these textures were created around 2 years ago probably. I'd actually like to say thank you to the people who commented in my videos and told me about these HD texture packs, because I actually didn't even know they existed. It's thanks to you guys, the people watching and commenting on this video, that I could even know this was possible. So thank you so much everyone who commented, and please continue to comment and give me suggestions, because that is so useful, and I'm having a great time playing with these texture packs. So once again, thank you so much. Dolphin is one of my favorite emulators because it runs everything really well, and it has a really simple quick save and quick load menu. By swiping in from the left, we can just choose quick save, and then at any point we can just bring this back. I especially like it when jumping through really long game intros like this. Just in case it were to crash, I would hate to have to go through the whole cinematic all over again. After an intro that felt like about 1,000 years, we're finally into the game now, and it looks beautiful. I really like how Paper Mario is 2D, so when you turn around like this, you kind of see the thin paper he's made out of. It's very cute. Uh-oh. I would love to show you more of this game, but I spent so long in the introduction that it's time to move on to the next game. I will try to play this more in a future video because it is really cute and definitely my style, so look forward to that in a future video. But for now, I will say it's running at a very smooth 60 frames per second. This video is also being recorded at 60 frames per second, so you should be able to see that for yourself, that it's very smooth, and it looks incredible. We just loaded 1,200 custom textures. Now moving on from Mario, we're now going to jump into Animal Crossing. Again, it's immediately noticeable with the sharp text that we've got some custom textures going on here. Oh, what's the dog's name? This is a quiz for any Animal Crossing players. What is the dog's name? I think it's KK Slider. The only Animal Crossing game I've played is New Horizons. I am going to jump into the Gamecube game as well as New Leaf, and a commenter on one of my recent videos let me know there's a mobile Animal Crossing game. I'm definitely going to feature that in an upcoming Android gaming showcase as well, where I'm also going to be trying games like Zenless Zone Zero, Honkai Star Rail, more Fortnite, etc. So look forward to that. And also let me know if there's any more Android games I should check out. Anything that is text-based within these games is really just delightful after installing these modifications. Everything's just so nice and clear. I actually played this game a little bit about a week or two ago before installing this texture pack, and it looked fine, but now it just looks incredibly crisp. So where are we going? What's the name of our town in Animal Crossing? Where does Ryan Retro live? Well, we don't have any room for Retro Land, so let's say Retropia. I'm going to Retropia. And you guys are all invited. There is a little bit of glitching happening. I'm not sure if you can see Tom Nook's head. It's kind of glitching out a little bit. These upscaled texture packs are fan-made. There's nothing official about them, so they do have varying levels of quality. You might find that in one game everything is absolutely flawless, but in another game you might get these weird artifacts. They might not work at all. You just have to try and see how it works. Thankfully, it's extremely easy to enable and disable them, so if you install a texture pack and you realize you don't really like it that much, it's literally just 1 or 2 toggle switches that will undo it and take you back to the original settings of the game. So don't worry about it too much. There's no real harm in trying. This game is very cute. Once again, like all of the games we've tested so far, we're running at a perfectly solid and locked 60 frames per second. Combined with the HD textures, it's delightful to play on the Retroid Pocket 5. One thing you might want to do is try to find a gecko code to stretch the screen to 16:9. You can also enable widescreen hacks in Dolphin, which will stretch the screen to 16:9, but I'm not personally a fan of that, because any on-screen display will also get stretched, and I don't think it looks very good. Especially if you have the black Retroid Pocket 5, where the screen is so seamless to the body. I'm perfectly fine playing with the 4:3 aspect ratio. But let's jump into the next game and let's try a gecko code to perfectly stretch the screen to 16:9 while preserving the on-screen elements. Once again, as soon as we jump into the title screen, I'm just blown away by how clear everything is. It probably sounds ridiculous if you're playing modern games, but it's the fact that we know these games are 20 years old and they look so crisp. It's just incredible. I also realized I just made a mistake a minute ago because I said every game was running at 60 frames per second, when obviously Super Mario Sunshine was running at 30, because that's what it's capped at. You know what I meant. Jumping into a new game of Skies of Arcadia, it asks if you want to enable rumble or not. I made the mistake of turning rumble on the last time I set this game up about a month ago, and it just rumbles non-stop. I find it really annoying, so I'm going to say disable rumble, please. So let's jump into this game in 4:3 aspect ratio, and once we get into the game, I'll show you how to enable a gecko code to make the game perfectly fill the screen in a 16:9 aspect ratio while retaining the shape of all the elements on the screen. We're now into the game. Where we are right now inside this ship on the game is very dark. It's not really the best way to show the graphics, but I hope that you can see it well enough. So right now we're playing in a 4:3 aspect ratio, and what I'm going to do is apply a gecko code to stretch it 16:9 while keeping all of the text and other on-screen elements the same. Using the widescreen hacks built into the Dolphin emulator would just stretch everything, including all of those elements, and I don't really like the way it looks. So let's use a gecko code to stretch the screen and see how that looks. So I'm going to exit the game. I just put down a quick save before I did so. I'll hold my finger down on Skies of Arcadia, go to Edit Cheats. Now we'll go down to Add New Gecko Code. I'll choose that. I'll bring my screen brightness down a little bit because I think the white is a little bit bright. So now we need to give a name for our code. I'm going to call it widescreen. Okay. It's going to ask you who the creator is or if you have any notes. I'm going to leave those blank. All we need to know is the code itself. So I'll put this code in the description of the video if you'd like to see it, but you can just search online for gecko codes and you'll find quite a lot. Also, this code at the top of the screen, GEAE8P, that is the code for the game itself. Every GameCube game has a game ID code, and that is the code. So if you search GEAE8P gecko codes online, that's how you'll find a lot that you can use. So I'll do exactly that right now. I'll search GEAE8P widescreen gecko code. For this game in particular, we have two gecko codes to choose from. We can choose if we want one that keeps the HUD unsquished, which is what I wanted, but it can break cutscenes in this game. That doesn't usually happen in other games, but it does seem to unfortunately happen with Skies of Arcadia. We also have another option that will stretch the HUD and won't cause any crashing, but that will most likely be the same as just using the widescreen hack inside Dolphin itself. So in that case, you may as well just turn on widescreen hacks and force 16:9 inside Dolphin. So in order to try something different, I'm going to use the normal HUD gecko code, and let's just see how it works. So we're going to select all of the numbers by dragging over them like this. Scrolling down, dragging more. Scrolling down, dragging more. It's much easier to do this on a computer, but it is perfectly doable on the Retroid Pocket 5. When we get to all of them, we have them all selected. We'll choose copy. We'll go back over to Dolphin, and here where it says code, we'll paste in that code we just copied from our clipboard and choose done. We'll say OK. Now when we go back, we have that widescreen gecko code with a little toggle button. So let's toggle that on, and now when we launch the game again, if you copied the code correctly, you'll see the game is now stretched to widescreen. Interestingly, it's not actually a perfect widescreen, as there is still a tiny little black bar on the sides. But using the magic of split screen technology, I will compare this to what it was like before, and you will see it is a lot wider now, while retaining the same sized HUD. And just before we move on to the next game, let's compare this with the built-in widescreen hack in Dolphin, which will stretch everything, but it will fill the screen. So I'm going to exit the game, long press on it again, go to Edit Cheats, and I'm going to toggle off the widescreen gecko code we just added. Now I'll go back into the settings of the game, Edit Game Settings, Graphics Settings. Under Graphics Settings, we'll go down to Aspect Ratio, Force 16:9, and then we'll go down to Enhancements, we'll scroll down, and we'll turn on Widescreen Hack. Now when we launch the game for the final time, we'll see how this is different to what we did before. Everything is now stretched. We do once again have those tiny black bars on the side, the same as with the gecko codes, and now all of the HUD is also stretched. So if I now put the widescreen hack side by side with the gecko code, you'll be able to notice if there are any differences and which one you prefer. The gecko code does require a little bit more effort, as you do have to search online for the code and copy it over. It did take me about 1.5 minutes to do that, so it's not exactly a great deal of effort. And once you've added it in, it then just becomes a simple toggle switch, the same as widescreen hacks. So it's completely up to you which method you would prefer, and your mileage will vary depending on the game, as this particular game did say it can cause crashing and glitching by using a gecko code, which doesn't happen in almost any other game I've tried. Let's move on to one more game and let's go for a heavy hitter. The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. We are loading 4,696 custom textures. This is, in my opinion, probably the most beautiful game ever created. And in my comparison versus video, I did say I prefer the GameCube version over the Wii U version because it runs more smoothly. But I do like the way the Wii U version looks. So let's see if we can now get the best of both worlds by playing the smooth GameCube version with enhanced high-definition textures. We're back on Outset Island, one of my favourite locations in any game ever. Everything looks beautiful. We're playing once again at a locked 30 frames per second. Every single game in this video today has run at a completely fluid frame rate, whether it was 30 or 60 frames per second. We are never deviating from that frame rate. We're not experiencing any drops in frames using these textures. Everything is beautiful. With this game, I have to be completely honest with you guys, I don't notice a big difference because this game is already beautiful. I can notice a difference in the text. If you look closely at the text on the screen, it does look a little bit nicer. Everything is very sharp, but I felt that the original GameCube version of this game already looked beautiful. So for this game in particular, there is no harm in adding the texture pack, but I think the game already looks perfect as it was. But then what is my conclusion about these texture packs? My conclusion is, you should install them. They are fantastic. They improve the quality of these GameCube games with no downsides whatsoever. They don't give us any frame drops, we don't lose any performance, everything is solid and it looks incredible. So if you would like to download these texture packs, check the link in the description to a forum website where you can scroll through and download the ones you want, and then I'll just quickly show you where to place the files. Jumping into a file manager on your Retroid Pocket 5, you need to download the file from the link in the description, which will be a zip file. You then need to extract that file into a folder with the game's ID on it. And you need to move that folder to this location. You need to go to the main storage of the Retroid Pocket 5. You then need to go to Android, Data, scroll down to com.dolphinemu.dolphinemu, because this is for the Dolphin emulator. So find the one that says Dolphinemu on it. Inside there, you need to go to Files, Load, and then Textures. If this folder doesn't exist, you need to make it, but it probably will exist already. So inside the Textures folder, you then need to paste the folder you extracted from the forum website in the description, and you need to give it the game ID. Almost all of the files I downloaded were already named like this with the correct ID, but some of them did just have the name of the game. If that's the case, you can just search on Google, what is the game ID for Super Mario Sunshine, for example, and it will tell you. And for one example, the game ID for The Wind Waker is GZL. So you need to make sure the folder is called GZL, because that is what Dolphin is looking for. If you called this folder Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, Dolphin wouldn't know where to find those textures, so just make sure you rename it to the game ID. If you have any questions or problems, just search on Google, you'll find a lot of information, and the forum itself in the description is also very helpful for guiding you through the process. So I hope this helps you get set up with HD textures on the Retroid Pocket 5, and I hope this helps to enhance your gaming experience. If this video was helpful or enjoyable, please push the like button and subscribe if you didn't already. If you want to pick up your own Retroid Pocket 5 so that you too can game in HD with these beautiful GameCube games, check out my affiliate link in the description. It'll take you to the official Retroid website, which is the same place I got this beauty. Thank you once again for watching, everybody. Let me know if you like the new professional camera setup, or if you want me to go back to my other one. And for the last time, let me say one more big thank you for everyone who continues to watch these videos every day. You mean the world to me. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.